Pope Leo XIV made a groundbreaking move by appointing women to senior leadership positions within the Catholic Church. Shortly after taking office, Pope Leo XIV surprised and raised expectations within the Catholic world with bold decisions. One of the most remarkable steps was the appointment of women, including nuns and laywomen, to key leadership roles in the Vatican Curia. This was not only a symbolic act, but also a profound structural reform that opened a new chapter for the role of women in the Catholic Church. Historically, women in the Church were often limited to pastoral roles or service behind the scenes. However, under Pope Leo XIV's reign, these barriers have gradually been dismantled. One of the clearest examples was the appointment of Sister Tigana Moretti, a respected nun with extensive experience, as Secretary General of the Congregation for Institutes of Consecrated Life and Societies of Apostolic Life. This congregation is one of the most important central bodies of the Vatican, and this appointment demonstrated genuine trust, not just a formality. Pope Leo XIV did not stop there. He continued to promote women's presence in various fields such as theology, canon law, administration, teaching, and policymaking. The Vatican, under his leadership, has seen a significant increase in women holding senior management roles, now reaching nearly 25%, a historically unprecedented figure for the Church. Expanding women's leadership roles is not only a quantitative advancement, but also a profound qualitative change, transforming how the Church is run with a spirit of inclusiveness and unity according to the Gospel. Pope Leo XIV is building a new model of the Church where women are no longer on the sidelines, but are invited to step into the center to help build and lead the Church in the modern era. The appointment of Sister Tigana Moretti as Secretary General of a major Vatican congregation marked a historic step in women's leadership at the Vatican. As the Catholic Church gradually adapts to changes in the modern world, this breakthrough event attracted special attention from the global faithful. Sister Tigana Moretti was appointed by Pope Leo XIV as Secretary General of the Congregation for Institutes of Consecrated Life and Societies of Apostolic Life, one of the most important Vatican congregations. This was not merely an organizational decision, but a historic milestone affirming women's growing role in the life and leadership structure of the Church. Sister Tigana Moretti is not an unfamiliar figure among religious sisters. With many years of service in training and guiding consecrated life and a solid academic background in theology and canon law, she is regarded as a visionary and experienced leader. The Pope's trust in appointing her to one of the highest positions in the Church's central apparatus clearly demonstrates the reformist and inclusive policy he is pursuing. For centuries, Church tradition often limited women's roles to community service, pastoral work, or education. However, with this event, women, specifically a nun, officially joined high-level policymaking and management in the Curia. This is the first time a nun holds the position of Secretary General at a central congregation, equivalent to a deputy minister, with responsibility to oversee activities and provide direction for consecrated life worldwide. Beyond personal significance, Sister Moretti's appointment opened a new door for millions of Catholic women. It recognizes their role and abilities while encouraging a richer, more diverse leadership model. This aligns with the spirit of the Second Vatican Council regarding the active participation of the laity, including women, in church life. Pope Leo XIV's trust in appointing a woman to an important curia position is not only courageous, but also a strong declaration. The Church is changing, and women are an indispensable part of this renewal process. Women religious and laywomen are increasingly important in the leadership structure of the Catholic Church. For many centuries, leadership roles were mainly held by male clergy. Yet in recent years, a fresh breeze has blown through the Vatican, once seen as a symbol of tradition, as more and more women, religious and laywomen, have been entrusted with important positions in the Church's central bodies. This change not only reflects reformist thinking, but also acknowledges women's capacity, contributions, and intellect in church life. Under Pope Leo XIV's reign, this trend has accelerated. With an open policy, he affirmed that women, though not clergy, can hold leadership roles provided they have the competence, experience, and spirit of service. As a result, More nuns and laywomen are entrusted with managerial, advisory, and executive roles in Vatican departments, councils, and committees. Notable examples include Sister Nathalie Becquart, the first woman to serve as Undersecretary of the Synod of Bishops, and Sister Alessandra Smarilli, currently Secretary of the Dicastery for Promoting Integral Human Development. Many other women with strong academic backgrounds and years of service in Catholic organizations have also been appointed as advisors, researchers, or policymakers in fields such as education, communication, migration, and social charity. Empowering women in leadership is not merely an act of delegation, but a strong, symbolic message. Women are no longer on the margins, but play a central role in the Church's mission. They bring different perspectives, sensitivity and community engagement, and a special capacity to inspire. Qualities Pope Leo XIV has repeatedly emphasized as necessary for a lively church that is close to the modern world. The growing presence of women in church leadership is not only an organizational step forward, but also shows theological and pastoral development. It clearly signals the Church's willingness to listen, change, and move toward a more comprehensive service model, where all members, regardless of gender, can collaborate and contribute to the mission of proclaiming the gospel. Prominent women leaders are reshaping the face of the Catholic Church. Throughout its long history, women's roles were often limited to pastoral, charitable, or educational activities, rarely appearing in positions of power or policymaking. Yet, entering the 21st century, especially under Popes Francis and now Leo XIV, the Church witnesses the rise of many remarkable women leaders who represent not only a shift in mindset, but actively shape the Church's future. Among the most prominent is Sister Nathalie Becquart. With advanced degrees and many years of youth ministry experience in France, she was appointed Undersecretary of the Synod of Bishops, a position unprecedented for a woman. Remarkably, Sister Becquart also has voting rights in the Synod, a privilege previously reserved for male bishops. This is a symbolic and substantive advancement affirming women's leadership in global church decisions. Another notable figure is Sister Alessandra Smarilli, an Italian Salesian nun who currently serves as Secretary of the Dicastery for Promoting Integral Human Development. She is not only a theologian, but also an economist who has advised both the Vatican and international organizations. With her deep socioeconomic insight and compassionate heart, Sister Smarilli has actively contributed to programs supporting the poor, environmental protection, and social justice. Laywomen also demonstrate indispensable roles in the Church's machinery. A prime example is Barbara Giada, the first woman to become director of the Vatican Library. She is an expert in ancient manuscripts and has modernized document digitization to preserve and share the Church's treasure trove of knowledge worldwide. The emergence of such women leaders brings new vitality to the Church. They excel in their professional roles and help change the image of a Vatican once seen as conservative and closed. They clearly prove that when women are trusted and empowered, they can make substantial and lasting contributions to the Church's mission in today's world. The growing presence of women at the Vatican marks a historic reform. For centuries, the Vatican was viewed as a deeply patriarchal religious institution where power was almost exclusively held by male bishops and cardinals. Yet, in recent years, especially under Popes Francis and now Leo XIV, this picture has gradually changed, opening new space for women not only in service, but also at leadership and policymaking levels. The increasing visibility of women in the Vatican's central governance is more than a numerical rise. It embodies profound reform touching the core of power structures in the Catholic Church. Appointing women religious and laywomen as secretaries general, undersecretaries, and members of Vatican congregations and councils. Positions historically reserved for male clergy breaks long-standing precedents. This reflects a Vatican in transition, from closed to open, from conservative to listening and dialoguing. Beyond formal recognition, many women at the Vatican today exercise real authority, directly engaging in important processes such as reforming canon law, protecting human rights, promoting sustainable development, and organizing the Synod of Bishops, where global pastoral strategies are defined. They bring fresh perspectives, often collaborative, humane, and more sensitive to reality, into church governance. Pope Leo XIV, continuing the reform spirit of Pope Francis, boldly continues empowering women, emphasizing that the Church cannot fully develop without the voice and leadership of women. These reforms are not superficial, but a strong affirmation of a Church striving for justice and inclusiveness, where every member has a place and is respected for their dignity and abilities regardless of gender. Today's presence of women at the Vatican is a symbol of hope, not only for Catholic women worldwide, but for all who desire to see a dynamic, listening Church committed to serving humanity in the modern age. Thank you for following. May you always be at peace and guided on your faith journey.